Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So first topic of the development I'm going to give you an update on today is in regards to Swansea City's Daniel James. Now reports are coming out saying that Manchester United are closing in on a deal for Daniel James. The stories broke out about this situation last week, saying that Manchester United were close to agreeing around a £15 million deal for Daniel James. So looking at it, ultimately he's looking likely he's going to be our first signing this summer. But there has been quite a few teams that have expressed their interest in Daniel James. I think Leeds United have been in for him. I also think Everton have been in for him. But the big question is, has he got the capabilities? Has he got the attributes, to come and succeed in the Premier League? Because obviously at the moment he hasn't played to the highest level. Of course, he's only very, very young. He's only 21 years of age. He's a Welsh international. He primarily, plays on the wing. But I think he's supposed to be he's supposed to be more effective from that left hand side. Is Daniel James. So he is a surprise solution for Manchester United. Is Daniel James. He is a low expectation. He is a cheap acquisition, of course. And yes, I think he's still got a year left on his contract with Swansea, of course. So yeah, do you think he'll be able to deliver the goods to Manchester United? But yeah, very, very young. But there has been quite a few teams that have been in for him. But as I did currently say, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has worked out his transfer strategy for this summer, and he's intending on bringing a number of young players in, that can come in, grow, develop, and emulate into superstars. Because as I did say to you, it's not all about getting the Galactico players. It's not all about spending big money on players, as Manchester United have got a history of doing. Prime example, 75 million for Lukaku, 89 million pounds for Paul Pogba. So always getting the Galactico players doesn't guarantee you success and doesn't always get you in that commanding position, where you do currently want to be. So it's looking likely, Daniel James is going to come in. I think it's going to be a fee of around £15 million, or maybe with add-ons it may rise up to £20 million. But that is a reasonable figure. I think he can also play as an attacking midfielder, can Daniel James, but he does primarily, play on that left-hand side. But as I said, reports broke out about this last week, but there has been quite a few teams in for Daniel James. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, did say he's going to have his final say on our summer transfer plans, what players come in and what players leave in the summer. I think we want to at least, bring 5 new additions to the club this summer. We are expected to orchestrate a big summer clear out, and I think up to at least 5 players could be going, but all the players we do want to go, we're not going to be able to sanction them off in one window, so it is going to take a couple of windows, to address that problem. But you can see the deficiencies in the squad, you can see the areas, where we are lacking, so we've got to resolve these problems in the summer. And he's getting a £250 million spending spree. I think that can get us at least 5 new additions, maybe even more, depending on how, we are with our recruitment, whether we go mad with it or we're sensible with it. Some people say, maybe we should be sensible with our recruitment, of course, because we do know a lot of money's being spent at the club, since Alex Ferguson retired. We've been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years. We know we've had different managers with different philosophies. Over £700 million has currently been spent at the club. But as I did currently say, other teams are going to, spend this summer, I should presume. Arsenal are going to spend, Liverpool are going to probably spend, again, they had a good window last summer. Probably, Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City, will currently spend. So we've got to invest this summer, because analysing our recruitment policy, is extremely very, very poor. But I said at the moment, City are strides ahead of us, Liverpool are strides ahead of us. And I do believe in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is currently, going to be that top 4. But as I did say, Solskjaer still believes we can attract players to the elite level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. So the good news is it's looking likely we're going to get a deal over the line for Daniel James, and it will be interesting to see, how he blends in at Manchester United, of course. But has he got the capabilities, and the attributes, to succeed in the Premier League? And that is the big question. But £15 million is very, very cheap, to be quite honest with you. But that is really, really good indeed. And other breaking news, that's really, really good news. I think as I've updated you in the last couple of days, is in regards to Alexis Sanchez. Obviously, as we all know, Alexis Sanchez is one of the problematic players at Manchester United. And of course, we do know that Manchester United, do currently want to sanction him off. But there has been good news coming out of the media in the last couple of days, saying that Juventus and Inter Milan have expressed their interest in Sanchez. And it did basically say that Juventus and Inter Milan have been in negotiations with Alexis Sanchez's agent, because obviously, as we all know, Alexis Sanchez's agent has been in Italy, of course. And so it's looking likely, next season Sanchez will be playing his trade in Italy with either Juventus or Inter Milan, because as reports were currently saying, I think Man United are intending on getting, sending Sanchez out on a long season loan deal with either Inter Milan or Juventus. So that's very, very good news. And I think Man United are willing to pay half of his wages off, but we can't get rid of Sanchez permanently, based on his astronomical wages. But as I did say, it's really, really good, that we're getting rid of Alexis Sanchez, because he's been one of the problematic players, as I said. And that's a prime example, example, always getting the Galactico players doesn't guarantee you to get you in that commanding position where you want to be. And as I said, the prime example is Alexis Sanchez, because he's been so inconsistent at Manchester United. He's been here 16 months now, and I thought when he came in, I thought he'd have exceeded expectation levels at Manchester United. I thought he'd have been a fundamental player, reflecting back, what he did at Arsenal, because he'd be really, really good at Arsenal. Obviously, when he was younger, he played under Pep Guardiola. So it's looking likely Sanchez is going to be making a return to Italy, because obviously when he was a lot younger, Alexis Sanchez, I did play in Italy. I think it was with under knees. But looking at Sanchez's wages are having a really, really bad effect on the club. They're having a really bad effect on the club. I think it's 400 grand a week. I think it does rise up to £500,000 a week. Is it something to do with the image rights and stuff like that? And I think the goals and bonuses, I think it in all, rises up to £500,000 a week. Is the highest paid player at the club. Is the highest paid player in the Premier League. But I think it's totally affecting our wage structure. Of what currently Alexis Sanchez is currently earning. And since he's been at Manchester United, he's become injury prone. He's out at the moment with an ankle injury. I think this is now his fourth injury he has sustained at Manchester United. But Alexis Sanchez, of course, he's no longer playing to the highest level. He's 30 years of age. He's lost that yard of pace, and he doesn't have a future at the club. But Man United are willing to pay half his wages off, to send him out on loan in Italy with Juventus or Inter Milan. So the pay cut has currently been agreed, and that's really, really good news indeed. So Sanchez is going, and you could actually probably see Daniel James as the replacement for Alexis Sanchez, because Daniel James mainly plays on that left hand side. When we've mainly played Sanchez, he mainly he plays on that left hand side. Because we know initially anyway Sanchez isn't first choice, but when we have played him, we've initially put him on the left hand side. But we know Sanchez can play in other positions, because when he was at Arsenal, I think the majority of his goals came up front. Did Alexis Sanchez. So yeah, that's good news. There has been a lot of talks about Juventus' Paulo Dybala going on in the last couple of days. At least I think actually it came out a week or two ago saying that Manchester United were in negotiations with Juventus to make a possible move for Paulo Dybala. The reported fee was around £85 million, as you all do know. Reflecting back a couple of days ago, there were talks saying that obviously Sanchez's agent had been in Italy, and there was talks of possibly Sanchez and Paulo Dybala as a potential swap deal. And Paulo Dybala, don't get me wrong, I've got strong reservations about Paulo Dybala. I was reading Sky Sports yesterday. It did say that Dybala does reportedly want to leave Juventus. Obviously, Paulo Dybala's been at Juventus 4 seasons. I think he's won 4 Serie A's with them and 3 Coppa Italians in his 4-year period with Juventus. And he hasn't really, we haven't seen a glimpse of his best form throughout the course of this season, Paulo Dybala's, because obviously, he's been in and out of the squad, because obviously since the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo last summer at Juventus, Paulo Dybala has found game time very, very difficult, and this is why there's been rumours flirting around the media saying that he could possibly, leave Juventus this summer. But I think he does, reportedly want to leave, does Paulo Dybala, but he's 25 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. He can score goals, can Paulo Dybala, but I've got reservations about him, when it comes to his, defensive abilities and that. I've got concerns about him. He can score goals, and we do need someone in our attacking line, that can score goals. And if Paulo Dybala was to possibly come in, if he was scoring goals whilst he was adapting other areas of his game, I would be really, really happy about that. But there has been rumours, that he could leave Juventus this summer, Paulo Dybala. And obviously, we could actually, possibly see Dybala as a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because I think that Romelu Lukaku is going to be on his. I think he could be on his way out of Manchester United this summer. He's also linked with move to Italy. I think he's been linked with Juventus and Inter Milan as Romelu Lukaku. But I think Man United may be intending on cashing in for Lukaku this summer, because if we can cash in for Lukaku this summer, it's going to help us with our rebuilding process. It will help us with our transition if we can cash in for Lukaku. And Manchester United paid big money for him. Paid £75 million for him, plus £15 million in add-ons, which had risen the deal to £90 million. He's got 3 years left on his contract. He's on £250,000 a week. Enjoyed a very, very difficult second season with Manchester United as Romelu Lukaku, because he's initially lost his players in the team. But as I said, I don't think he's got the capabilities to play to the highest level as Romelu Lukaku. He doesn't have that endless potential. His finishing really, really concerns me. His first touch concerns me. And when it comes to him playing in big games, he's a big game ball. And don't get me wrong, he's scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. His pedigree is very, very good in the Premier League. And we saw glimpses of Lukaku's best form in his first season with Manchester United, because he scored 27 goals in all competitions. So he was very, very impressive in his first season. I think Solskjaer's had negotiations with Lukaku, I think, regarding his future. But I think Lukaku's agent, recently did reveal not too long ago that Lukaku's future is very, very open. So he's also linked with a move to Italy, is Romelu Lukaku. So I do believe that we do need to get him off. So do you think Paulo Dybala, would be a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku? Now, as you all know, yesterday there was a lot of talks, going on about Wilfried Zaha from Crystal Palace. As I did initially, give you an update on now. As reports were saying yesterday, Wilfried Zaha has informed Crystal Palace, that he does want to leave this summer. The main factor reason why I think he wants to leave Crystal Palace is because he wants to play to the highest level, and he obviously, wants to experience the Champions League, and he wants to play in Champions League football for next season. Does Wilfried Zaha? There has been quite a few teams interested in Wilfried Zaha. Arsenal have been interested in the past. Tottenham have been interested in the past. Whether if he does go, which I think he will, Wilfried Zaha, whether he stays in the Premier League or not, I do not know. Or he may even go abroad, where Wilfried Zaha. But he's well Premier League proven. He initially learned his trade in the Premier League. Did Wilfried Zaha. Wilfried Zaha is 26 years of age, so he's still in his prime. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Can play as a forward, can play as a winger. I think the majority of his goals, do come up front. Wilfried Zaha's for Crystal Palace, but he can also play on the wing, and that's an area where Manchester United are lacking. But he mainly does play on the left hand side anyway. There's Wilfried Zaha, but there has been a lot of talks about him going on. I think Wilfried Zaha. Let me just get some. I think Wilfried Zaha, wants to take his career to another level, and I think he wants to be playing to the highest level. There has been possible talks that he could make a return to Manchester United, Wilfried Zaha, but I don't think Wilfried Zaha will come back to Manchester United. Initially, Crystal Palace value him at around £80 million at least. I think some reports have now said Crystal Palace would demand that they want around £100 million if they are willing to sanction him off this summer. Obviously, Wilfried Zaha has got a contract with Crystal Palace until 2023. He signed his contract extension, was it last August? But yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him going on. But obviously, he's a former Manchester United player, as you all know. Obviously, he served 2 years at the club, but never really got the chance, never really made an impact. And obviously, it was Alex Ferguson's last signing, before he announced his retirement at the end of that season. And I think we paid an initial £10 million. Obviously, this was when Wilfried Zaha was younger. But as I did say, he spent the majority of his career with Palace, because initially began his career with Crystal Palace, then had a couple of seasons at Manchester United, then went back to Palace on loan. Then I think had a loan spell with Cardiff City, so he has played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as Wilfried Zaha. And then I think went back to Crystal Palace on loan for a bit, and then signed permanently for them, of course, in 2015. But he's been absolutely fantastic. He's got goals in him, he's got assists in him, but I don't think he'll come back to Manchester United, Wilfried Zaha. But he has confirmed, Wilfried Zaha, he wants to leave Crystal Palace because he wants to be playing in Champions League football, and he's not going to experience this at Crystal Palace. And I think it did say if Crystal Palace, do sell Wilfried Zaha this summer, Man United will benefit from this. It did say Manchester United, I think we receive around 15 million, or is it 20 million pounds, something like that, if Crystal Palace do sell him this summer, due to the sell-on clause that we've got in Wilfried Zaha's deal, that actually, saw him, make the return back to Crystal Palace. So I think we get around 15 or 20 million pounds if Crystal Palace, do currently sell him, but I don't see him coming back to Manchester United. But there has been a lot of talks about that going on. There's also news going out in the media about Moussa Dembele from Lyon. Now, he's been another name that's been mentioned, quite a few times. I think, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, his name was flirting around the media, Moussa Dembele. Now there is now talks coming back about it now. There's a lot of narratives going on about it, saying that Manchester United are reportedly plotting to put a bid in of around £40 million for Moussa Dembele. We could identify him as a replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Moussa Dembele is very, very young. He's only 22 years of age, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. And I think he's been very, very impressive, for Lyon, throughout the course of this season. It's only been his first season, in France with Lyon, because obviously Lyon got him last summer from Celtic for around, was it £19 million, or it might have been £20 million. He signed a 5-year deal, so he has got a contract with Lyon until 2023. Is initially valued at around 40 odd million pounds, is Moussa Dembele. But before, he did have 2 good seasons in Scotland. I think when he was younger as well, I think he actually began his senior career with Fulham, did Moussa Dembele. Don't really know much about him, but I know his name's been mentioned in the media, and it does say Man United are plotting to put a bid in of around £40 million for him. So there has been a lot of talks about him going on. But he's got goals in him, as he has proven. He's got assists in him. He can lead the lines. But I don't know too much about Moussa Dembele. But there's been still a lot of talks about him going on. Talking about Jadon Sancho. Now, obviously, we'd love Manchester United, to recommend, Jadon Sancho to come in, because obviously we do know he's been the club's #1 priority target. Jadon Sancho. For a very, very long time, he's been on Manchester United's agenda as Jadon Sancho. But I think now we're set to miss out on Jadon Sancho, and this is why we've turned our attentions more on Daniel James and all that, because it's looking like we've missed out on Jadon Sancho. And I think maybe a player of Jadon Sancho's calibre, wants to be in Champions League football. We did know anyway we're going to cost us quite a bit of money. Man United have had to pay up to £100 million to get him, but I think Borussia Dortmund have confirmed he's not for sale. But we were willing to meet his £100 million price tag, because we've got the financial power, to meet his valuation. Primarily plays on the wing, can play him as a central midfielder. I think he can play more centrally as well, can Jadon Sancho, but you mainly see the best of Jadon Sancho on the wing. Jadon Sancho has been at Borussia Dortmund a couple of seasons now, and he's done really, really well, but it'll be looking likely going on into next season he will continue playing his trade in Germany with Borussia Dortmund. But I think it will create a better platform for him, and it'd help him develop better, if he was to make a return to the Premier League, of course, and I think it'd create a better platform for him, as I've just said. But I don't think he's going to come back to the Premier League. Well, not this not for next season. Anywhere, maybe we'll try looking at him next summer. Look into it, see if we can get Jadon Sancho on the board then. But as I did say, I'd love us to get a player of his quality. Jadon Sancho can play between the bylines, got goals in him, got assisting him. Still got a contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022, and he had actually played for Manchester City, for a couple of seasons, but he never really got the opportunity at City. And this is one of the main factor reasons why I left City, and of course joined Borussia Dortmund. So yeah, it's looking likely we have missed out on Jadon Sancho, unfortunately. And there was other news I was reading up yesterday, and I thought these stories, were very, very cynical, to be quite honest with you. I don't think there was a lot of truth in it, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But even though there was a lot of media outlets, that currently reported on it, it did actually say that Manchester United reportedly eyeing a £50 million double swoop for the Crystal Palace duo, which is Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Patrick Van Aanholt. So it did say Manchester United were eyeing a £50 million double swoop, for Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Patrick Van Aanholt. Now, I think these stories are very, very cynical, because I don't really understand it, to be quite honest, because initially Aaron Wan-Bissaka is supposed to be valued at around at least £40 million. Don't get me wrong, it is a reasonable figure. So he's supposed to be, valued at around £40 million. Is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And this doesn't really make any sense. So if he was initially valued at around £40 million on Wan-Bissaka, how could we get Patrick Van Aanholt and Wan-Bissaka, both for £50 million? Unless it means like we get Wan-Bissaka, we have to pay for Wan-Bissaka, and we'd get probably Patrick Van Aanholt on a free transfer. But either way, I know Wan-Bissaka has been on our agenda, for a very, very long time. Reports came out a while back saying that Wan-Bissaka is fully committed to Crystal Palace, and I think he's intending on spending another season with Crystal Palace. But Manchester United have been linked to him, because we do basically need a right back. He's very, very young. He's ambitious, as they say, Wan-Bissaka. He's only 21 years of age, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But obviously we need a right back. We need someone to replace Antonio Valencia. We need an upgrade for Ashley Young, and I do believe that Wan-Bissaka would be the right solution. Talking about Patrick Van Aanholt, I wouldn't want him at Manchester United, because I don't think he's that good in my own opinion, and plus he's a left back, is Patrick Van Aanholt, and I don't think we need a left back. I think on that left hand side we're okay. I don't think we need to bolster up on that left hand side, because I think we're okay on that left hand side, and we don't need a left back, because we've got currently Luke Shaw, who hasn't done much on as a Manchester United player. I think he's been impressive, from the majority of this season, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Won the player of the year, didn't he, Luke Shaw. But talking about Patrick Van Aanholt, he is an experienced fullback. He's 28 years of age, so he's 7 years older than Wan-Bissaka. Patrick Van Aanholt, I think he's been at Crystal Palace a couple of seasons, but we can do much better than him. But I don't really know much about him, but I don't think he's that much of a good player. But he's highly experienced. He's 28 years of age. He's been at Crystal Palace a couple of seasons. I think he's a former Sunderland player. I think Crystal Palace thought out, I think Crystal Palace got him in a deal worth around £14 million back in 2017 from Sunderland. I think he's also been loaned out at quite a few teams in the past. I think he was loaned out at about 5 clubs, was Patrick Van Aanholt. Was it at Vitesse, Wigan, Leicester, Coventry and Newcastle? I think there were the loan spells he had with them teams. And I think initially began his senior career with Chelsea, did Patrick Van Aanholt. So there was talks about that, going on in the media yesterday. It was in the Sun, and it was in quite a few other media articles saying that Man United were eyeing a £50 million double swoop for the Crystal Palace duo, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Patrick Van Aanholt. I'll take Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but I don't want Patrick Van Aanholt, and that is it really, to be quite honest with you. And talking about additions in that midfield, I do believe we need some new additions in that midfield, of course, because I do believe we need a replacement for Pogba. We know we need a replacement for Ander Herrera, of course, because obviously Ander Herrera has left the club. I do believe we do need a centre defensive midfielder, you know, that's fast and tenacious. So, talking about Paul Pogba, I was going to give you an update on now. We do know there's rumours continuing to persist, you know, linking him with a move to Real Madrid. So there's still a lot of rumours going on about it. And he has been on Real Madrid's agenda, you know, for quite some time now, as Paul Pogba. Obviously, reports came out the other day saying talks between Paul Pogba and Real Madrid had currently stalled, you know, obviously based on the 13 million a year wage demands that Paul Pogba is demanding, and then wage structures do not fit them wage demands do not fit in the wage structure of Real Madrid, and it did say Real Madrid were not willing to meet his 13 million a year wage demands. You know, reports came out the other week saying that Real Madrid were not willing to match his £290,000 a week wages, you know, Paul Pogba's. I think, obviously, you know, last year Paul Pogba was heavily linked to a move away from Old Trafford, you know, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. You know, he was linked with Barcelona, he was linked with his former club, Juventus, was Paul Pogba. And as I did say, maybe one of the main factor reasons why he wants to leave the club, because maybe he wants to be playing to the highest level, you know, wants to be playing amongst better players as well, and probably, you know, wants to be in Champions League football. And obviously Manchester United cannot offer that for next season. Maybe wants to go to a team, you know, that can win trophies, you know, Paul Pogba. So he is unsettled at Manchester United, of course. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say a while back, you know, that he thinks he'll be at Manchester United next season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, had talks with Paul Pogba, but Paul Pogba, of course, has still got 3 years left on his contract at Old Trafford. Obviously, as we all know, we do know, at least in the last couple of weeks, Paul Pogba's agent, Riley Ola, has been in the process of finding him a new club. It's still looking likely Real Madrid is his likely destination, you know, where he will end up being, you know, Paul Pogba. And Manchester United, of course, paid £89 million for him. Obviously, you know, our most expensive signing. And since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come in, you know, we have seen glimpses of Paul Pogba's best form. You know, we mainly saw it in that 3-month period, you know, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. And, you know, we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba when Ander Herrera, you know, was playing, you know, when he was playing Ander Herrera. So that just, you know, emphasises how much of an impact Ander Herrera makes. Because mainly when Ander Herrera was playing, he was getting the best out of Paul Pogba. You know, Paul Pogba was expressing himself. He was scoring goals. He was providing. He was in absolutely scintillating form as Paul Pogba. But I think at least in his last 7 or 8 games now, Paul Pogba's performances have been way below par. So that just emphasises, you know, that he doesn't no longer want to be at the club. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane is a big admirer of the player. Obviously, Paul Pogba is Zinedine Zidane's idol, of course, and it's obviously, you know, Zinedine Zidane's main priority target, of course, you know, is Paul Pogba. Well, he's identified his 2 main targets, obviously Paul Pogba and Chelsea's Eden Hazard. I think, you know, Real Madrid have got a deal now, as I said to you yesterday, over the line for them as Eden Hazard. I think a fee has been agreed, is it around £86 million, you know, between Real Madrid and Chelsea, or it might be £100 million. I mean, I haven't really looked into that story, you know, lately, but maybe we'll look into it. But now they're focusing on getting Paul Pogba at Real Madrid. It did say Manchester United, you know, do want around £160 million Paul Pogba. Well, initially we don't want to get rid of him, but if we had to do business for Paul Pogba, I think we want around £160 million. Real Madrid reportedly were not willing to pay up to the £160 million. I think the most they were willing to pay up to was around £120 or £130 million for Paul Pogba. But I think maybe we should get rid of him, you know, because it will help us with our rebuilding process. You know, it will help us with our transition. And you know, Paul Pogba was talking a lot about Real Madrid. You know, was it weeks ago now? Quite a while back now. You know, about his dream, you know, to play for Real Madrid and all that. So he was talking a lot about them. So I think he's still going to be on his way out of the club in the summer. I think Paul Pogba will have to end up, you know, taking a pay cut, you know, if he wants to make his move to Real Madrid. But yeah, he's definitely, you know, going to be leaving the club. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, watched from this team, you know, at this day and age, you know, grow and develop. And of course, you know, grow and develop this team at this day and age. And obviously, you know, one of them was Paul Pogba. And they have built a great relationship with, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Paul Pogba. But most recent reports have said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's and Paul Pogba's relationship is slowly fading. So yeah, so it's looking like, you know, Paul Pogba's on his way out. But whatever we cash in for him, you know, we could get 2 players at least with that money, you know, which is very, very good. And I do believe that Sporting Lisbon's Bruno Fernandes, you know, would be the ideal replacement, you know, for Paul Pogba, because I really, really like Bruno Fernandes. I think he's a really, really good player. He's primarily an attacking midfielder, is Bruno Fernandes. Very, very good, can score goals, lots of assists in him, he's got immense talent, only 24 years of age, has still got a lot of years ahead of him. I think Sporting Lisbon wanting around £60 million for him this summer, so I don't think Sporting Lisbon are demanding for his initial release clause to be triggered, because his release clause is around 85 or £86 million. He's, Bruno Fernandes, of course, but I really, really like him, of course, he's been on Manchester United's agenda, for quite some time. I think also Manchester City have expressed their interest in him. City were in talks the other week with Sporting Lisbon over a deal worth £47 million for Bruno Fernandes, and it did say City were willing to offer a couple of their players as part of the deal. Obviously, from Bruno Fernandes' perspective, obviously a player of his calibre, the more attractive option, would be Manchester City for him, considering that City are strides ahead of us at the moment. Obviously, they're in Champions League football, obviously, for next season, and of course, they are the Premier League champions. But it did actually say initially that Manchester City, had actually, dropped him out of the race for Bruno Fernandes, but definitely Manchester United are still in there for him. Still got a contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023, but I do believe possibly next season Bruno Fernandes could be playing his trade in the Premier League, because I do believe he's got all the attributes, to come and succeed in the Premier League. And we need creativeness in our midfield, and we need depth in that midfield, and someone who can score goals from that midfield. And I think Bruno Fernandes would definitely, be the right solution. But Man United have been scouting him at least for the last couple of months, reflecting on his impressive performances. But yeah, primarily an attacking midfielder. Had a lot of experience of playing in Italy when he was young, with San Pandora and underneath. So yeah, I'd love him to come to Manchester United. I think he'd dramatically improve our midfield. And this Nicolas Pepe, at least in the last 2 or 3 days, we do know there's been a lot of talks about, Nicolas Pepe, going on in the media, from Lille. It has said that we have actually, stepped our interest now in Nicolas Pepe. He's the obvious candidate, for the right wing, because obviously, we do need a right winger to come in. Nicolas Pepe is very, very young. How old is he now? Is he 23 years of age? He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Obviously, at the moment, so far, he has spent the entirety of his career in France. I think he's been at Lille a couple of seasons now, as Nicolas Pepe. But I think, as I said, he's got the attributes and the capabilities, to come and succeed. The Premier League's got goals in him, got assists in him, holds his line very, very well. He's got immense talent. He's very quick. He runs on and off the ball good. He's good at holding on to the ball. So I think he's got everything, to succeed in the Premier League. And I think if he was to come to the Premier League, it would be the next step for Nicolas Pepe. But there has been a number of clubs that have attracted their interest in him, including Manchester United, I think PSG, Arsenal, Liverpool, Bayern Munich. I think all them teams have expressed an interest in Nicolas Pepe. I think Man United were eyeing to put a bid in of around £45 million for him, but I think Lille made demand that they want around £70 million for Nicolas Pepe. But yeah, I think he'd be fantastic for Manchester United, if he was to currently come in. I think he has got a contract with Lille until 2022, but Man United have been in negotiations, with Lille, to currently sign Nicolas Pepe. But yeah, I'd love him, to come to the Premier League, because I think he'd come to the Premier League and tear the Premier League apart, to be quite honest with you. But he's 23 years of age, and he has got a lot of years ahead of him. So maybe I'd love him to come in. I think he'd blend in very, very well in our attacking line. Talking about, Youri Tielemans, midfielder, I'd also, love Youri Tielemans, to come in. There has been a lot of talks about him. Obviously, he's on Manchester United's agenda, is Youri Tielemans. And obviously, at the moment, he's on loan with Leicester, is Youri Tielemans. He's on loan with Leicester at the moment, is Youri Tielemans, and I think he's been very, very impressive, since he's gone out on loan with Leicester. Leicester got him on loan from Monaco back in January, of course, and he's been very, very impressive throughout his loan spell at the moment with Leicester. I think from Youri Tielemans' perspective, he says he's expected to return to Monaco when his loan spell ends with Leicester, but I think the likes of Manchester United, Arsenal and Tottenham have all expressed their interest in Youri Tielemans. Again, 22 years of age, very, very young, still got a lot of years ahead of him, and I think he's actually a central midfielder there, is Youri Tielemans. I think he's available for a reasonable figure. I think Monaco value him at around £40 million. I think he's got a contract there with Monaco until 2022, but I think Leicester, as I've just said, Leicester and Brendan Rodgers want to get Youri Tielemans on a permanent deal. So yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him, going on in the media. So I'd love him, to come to Manchester United. So if we were to get Bruno Fernandes and Youri Tielemans, that's probably going to cost you £100 million. Bruno Fernandes, Sporting Lisbon want around £60 million. Monaco would want around £40 million for Youri Tielemans. That'd be £100 million. So that's £100 million spent on two good players. That's going to obviously address our deficiencies in that midfield. And I think they'd be fantastic in our midfield, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes 24, Youri Tielemans 22, so still very, very young. Benfica's Joao Felix, he's also, been mentioned, quite a few times as Joao Felix from Benfica. I think he'd be the right solution for Manchester United. He's primarily an attacking midfielder, but he can play as a winger. He can also play as a striker. Joao Felix, his buyout clause around £100 million. Obviously Portuguese, only 19 years of age. Again, still got a lot of years ahead of him. Would it help him with his would he develop better? If he was to come to the Premier League, Joao Felix throughout the course of this season, he's been very, very impressive. With Benfica. I think this has only been his first season in the senior squad with Benfica's as Joao Felix's, but Manchester United have been scouting him at least for the last couple of months, reflecting on his impressive performances. I think it also said that Manchester City were interested in Joao Felix. So yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him, going on. And other midfielders, West Ham's Declan Rice. I'd love West Ham's Declan Rice, to come in again. Well, Premier League proven, learned his trade in the Premier League. Declan Rice initially valued at around £40 million. His Declan Rice, or £50 million, should I say. And this is probably what West Ham would want if they were willing to do any business with him this summer. Primarily defensive midfielder, can play as a centre-back, but primarily a defensive midfielder. Only 20 years of age, and he's still got a lot of years ahead of him. He's done very, very well throughout the course of this season under Manuel Pellegrini. He can break up the play, holds his line very, very well. So I think Declan Rice, would be a fantastic in our midfield. But yeah, he's been one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. And so we have expressed an interest in quite a few midfielders. We have expressed an interest in quite a few midfielders, but obviously we do know Manchester United want to get a central defender in, of course. We need someone that can partner alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line, because I think the likes of I think Rojo, I think Rojo is going to be on his way out of the club this summer, which is very, very good news. I think he'll go anywhere, but I do also, want him to go. We can cash in for both Rojo and Darmian, to be quite honest with you. I know Darmian's a fullback, but we can cash in for Darmian and Rojo this summer. I think we could probably get around £30 million for the duo, because Rojo's enjoyed a very, very difficult time here. We know that Darmian's enjoyed a very, very difficult time here as well. I think Darmian, if he is to leave this summer, he'll probably, make a return to Italy, because he had a lot of experience playing in Italy, when he was younger. As you all know, Manchester United paid around, was it, just over £12 million for him from Torino back in 2015, for Matteo Darmian, but he's found it very, very difficult, Manchester United as Darmian, so we do need to cash in for Darmian and Marcus Rojo. Eric Bailly, I think he could be possibly on his way out as well. I think Man United, we do want to recoup the initial £30 million. We did pay for him back in 2016. If we are willing to offload Eric Bailly, I thought he burst into the scenes very, very well when he first came into the Premier League, but I think with the amount of injuries he's sustained, his fallout with managers has had a really, really bad effect on his career, and it's taken its toll on Eric Bailly. So I do believe he's on his way out, and I think he's initially lost his place in the team as Eric Bailly. And so we do need a central defending there. Some people are saying, we need a couple of central defenders, and then you've got they've got the likes of Smalling and Phil Jones. It was just quite frankly not good enough for Manchester United. They've been 2 long-serving players at the club. Jones has been here 8 years, Smalling's been here 9 years, and comparing Smalling and Jones, I do believe that Smalling is a much, much better defender than Phil Jones, but I want him to leave in the summer, but I don't think it'll happen. I think that Jones and Smalling, will be at Manchester United next season. But yeah, we need a central defender, and as I said, some people say we need 2. Obviously, Koulibaly now is reportedly we've identified him as our number 1 summer target. Koulibaly, and I think he'd do very, very well in our back line. He'd hold his line very, very well. What? What? Why? Aren't we? You what? Alright. Yeah, alright. 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 Dad, are you staying here?
Yeah.
Oh, staying at home?
I think that's staying up there.
Are you staying up there tonight?
I don't think so.
Why?
Because obviously the thing coming bed with is in a store. If you see anything, don't tell them I'm not. They're going to say what she just says in bed.
Alright.
Where's that up there? Because none of them are reasonable. They just want to palm it off on other people. So.
Alright.
That shouldn't be staying up there tonight, Jane. Shouldn't you?
Yeah, alright.
Yeah, no, come on.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just having a conversation. But yeah, I was just saying, Koulibaly is the number one summer target for Manchester United, and I think it'd be fantastic for us. Obviously, if he is for sale, Man United are going to have to break, the world transfer record for Koulibaly without a shadow of a doubt. But I think he'd address our problems defensively, and I think he'd blend in very, very well alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. But positive news has been coming out about Koulibaly, and I do believe there's some trust in this. It's very, very reliable of what the reports have been saying about Koulibaly, and yeah, he is now our number one summer target, but I think he'll address our defensive deficiencies, fantastically well. Has not yet played in the Premier League. He's highly experienced, as you all know. He's 27, nearly 28 years of age. But Manchester United, as you all know, have been long admirers of Koulibaly. We were linked to him last year. We had 3 bids turned down for him last year. I think Man United maybe would have to pay around 120 or 130 million to get him on the board. But I don't think Man United will be willing to pay that much for Koulibaly. So we'll try and get him for around £88 million. As you all know, Carlo Ancelotti recently regarded him as one of the best centre-backs in the world. But obviously, last summer our priority, was to get a centre-back in. But obviously, going back last summer when we had Jose Mourinho, obviously, the board weren't backing, the signings that Jose Mourinho, wanted to recommend to come in, and our priority, as I've just said last summer, was to get a centre-back in. But yeah, Koulibaly, would be absolutely fantastic. He's been at Napoli 5 seasons, he's made about 211 appearances in all competitions. Obviously, he's got a contract with Napoli until 2023 as Koulibaly. So I think he'd be able to produce and deliver the same element of the performances, if he was to come to the Premier League, as he has been doing in his years with Napoli, of course. But financially, Napoli would make a huge profit on the player because Napoli only paid around £7 million from Genk. But looking at it, Napoli still know how much of an essential player he is to them. So I'm not guaranteed that we are going to get him, but the news has been very, very positive in relation to Napoli's Koulibaly. Obviously, I'd prefer him to the likes of the Harry Maguires and the Toby Alderweireld and all that, but some people are saying we need 2 central defenders, and you know what? I'd really, really like Harry Maguire at Manchester United. He's not on the level of Koulibaly, nowhere near on the level of Koulibaly's level, but I still like Harry Maguire. He's 26 years of age, he's in his prime, he's still got a lot of years ahead of him, knows the Premier League well, been in the Premier League, quite a few years now, hasn't he? I think he's been in the Premier League quite a long time as Harry Maguire, but he's well Premier League proven anywhere. He's tall as well, which is very, very beneficial. Got a contract with Leicester till 2023, signed his new long-term contract last summer with Leicester. But yeah, I think he'd fit in very, very well in our back line. I don't think Man United are intending on breaking the world transfer record of Harry Maguire, even though he was previously valued at around, was it 70 or 80 million pounds Harry Maguire. But I think Leicester only paid around £17 million for him from Hull City. I think he had a loan spell with Wigan after Hull City, then obviously went to Leicester. I think he actually began his career with Sheffield United, when he was a youngster, did Harry Maguire. I think he went on to make about 166 games for Sheffield United. So there has been talks at Manchester United, we could revive our interest in Harry Maguire. So imagine Harry Maguire and Koulibaly in our defensive line. That would be absolutely fantastic indeed. I don't really see us getting 2 central defenders in. I think we'll probably only end up getting one in, but if it is Napoli's Koulibaly, that will be absolutely fantastic indeed. And there's been other central defenders on the United's agenda. There's been Tottenham's Toby Alderweireld. There's been Real Madrid's Rafael Varane. There's been a lot of talks about them. Rafael Varane, I don't see us getting Rafael Varane because I don't think Real Madrid are willing to sell him. Toby Alderweireld, there's definitely a possibility of Alderweireld. He's a much cheaper alternative to the likes of the Harry Maguires and the Koulibalys. Not on the same calibre or level, but financially he's a much, much cheaper alternative. He's available for £25 million as Alderweireld. He's Premier League proven, of course. Obviously, I think he had a loan spell with Southampton, before he came to Tottenham. He's been at Tottenham now about 4 seasons as Alderweireld. So yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him. Now he's 30 years of age, got reservations about him, has lost that yard of pace, but I still believe he would be a good upgrade in our defence with Toby Alderweireld. So yeah, been a lot of talks about him, going on. been a lot of talks about him going on. So yeah, lots to sort out this summer. But I think any signings, Manchester United, do make this summer. Obviously, they've got to fit the culture of the club, and they've got to fit the history of the club. And I think this is what basically Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was saying. So I think it's going to be difficult for us to get the players we want this summer because we're not in a Champions League football. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still confident we can attract players to the highest level. As he was currently saying. Also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say, I think this was prior to the Huddersfield game, that he has been contacted by a number of agents, saying that their players, do want to come to Manchester United, that they're interested in coming. So, yeah. But I wanted to do this Transfer Daily show for you to give you the update of what's been going on, what players, Manchester United are linked to them and that, the main part of this video is obviously to give you big news about Daniel James. Manchester United are closing on a deal for Daniel James. It'll probably be around £15 million we'll get him for, maybe £20 million with add-ons included. So it'll be either £15 million or £20 million, I should presume. But it's a surprise solution is Daniel James, don't get me wrong. He is a Championship player. But, we might as well just get him, see, how he blends in the Premier League, see if he, succeeds in the Premier League, and if he doesn't, then Man United may consider getting rid of him or loaning him out. But, it's a reasonable figure, it's £15 million or £20 million, whatever it is, it's still a reasonable figure. Wilfried Zaha, he's going to cost you a lot of money if Man United had to go in for him. Crystal Palace now value him now at around 80 or even £100 million, some reports are saying, but like I said, I don't think Wilfried Zaha would want to come back to Manchester United. I don't think he'll come back to Manchester United anywhere, Wilfried Zaha. But yeah, there's been quite a few teams interesting. But if Palace do sell him this summer, we get around £15 or £20 million, due to the sell-on clause in his deal that saw him make a return back to Crystal Palace. And this is the reason why we receive around £15 or £20 million from Wilfried Zaha's departure. So Wilfried Zaha's got a contract with Palace till 2023, as you all know. He didn't sign the 5-year deal last summer, but he signed a contract extension last summer. I think he actually signed the 5-year deal, was it back in 2017, did Wilfried Zaha. So yeah, there has been a lot of talk about him going on. And as said, I think them stories are very cynical in relation to saying that Manchester United are eyeing a £50 million double swoop for Wan-Bissaka and Patrick Van Aanholt. And I don't want Patrick Van Aanholt anywhere at Manchester United, but I'd still love to get Wan-Bissaka in because I think he'd be fantastic in that right back position for us. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you again very soon. Thanks for watching.